Jimmy. Jimmy. Jim, James, son!
It's finally time to do the drive shaft coupler bushings, oil pump seal, rear main seal, and other things while I'm down here. So I have the car up on ramps, and these are like solid steel 1960s ramps. So they're just good. Okay, the car is chocked behind both wheels, and the emergency brake is on. If you can see right there, that's our prize. And I have just about everything down here we're gonna need to disconnect everything and make sure we're all good. I have to mark this, all the weights and the angles of the little end caps to make sure I don't spin them the wrong way, because you do have to align the drive shaft bushings. They're not self-aligning for whatever reason. So yeah, I've got some towels down here on this horrible driveway of mine, and we're gonna crawl up underneath here and begin the process. So we'll give that paint marker a second to dry. We've marked the first and second sides of the shaft along with the bottom of the shaft, so we know which way the alignment pins on the inside of the bushing will line up. And also, there's quite a leak. I mean, this is just a couple days of sitting here and it's already amassed quite a leak. So hopefully this takes care of our little problem. You can kind of see it's even leaking up there a little bit. I tried using the Milwaukee M12. It's like a mini extension wrench. That wasn't gonna cut it, so we had to get out the M18 Fuel. This baby is a monster. If you're not careful, you'll hurt yourself and break lug nuts clean off, I promise you. But here's the issue with the drive shaft bushing coupler. See this? Are you ready? If I can get this out of here. That's not supposed to come out of there. Yep, and there it went. This is supposed to be part of the coupler permanently. So all three bolts are out. I did have to mark the harmonic balancer to keep that in line with the rest of it. But this should now come out like this, and we should be able to put this to the side and remove this separately while we try to get the harmonic balancer out. And we may have to remove the front coupler as well while we're doing this, just so we have space to wiggle the whole thing out. I did end up having to take the whole horseshoe collar, and there's like a secondary clamshell bracket. It's all over there. See all that nasty gooey poo? I did have to take that off to actually get to the coupler, which I've aligned as well here. And I'm gonna have to take them 3 main connecting bolts. You can see this spins quite freely. It spins the fan clutch in front and all the accessories. And hopefully once I remove those 3 standard bolts, I can pull the whole drive shaft out and turn it sideways. And there's nothing else I have to take out, because I really don't want to take out this supercharger. It's already, what, 27 years old and very brittle, so let's leave that where it is, and let's hope that this will come out. Okay, well, drive shaft, supplemental drive shaft anyway, has been removed. You can see it is over there on the ground. What's odd about this is a number of things. I didn't expect the yoke to look like this. It's not a splined yoke, it's just a yoke. I'm guessing with the bearing on this side. I'm not sure on that. I'm actually a little confused on that myself. Also, the way that all these, like, dowels or whatever you want to call them, these counterbalance weights are aligned is completely incorrect. These should be like here. See how this one's out? These should all be facing out. There should be none of them facing inward. There's no need for that. They should be like a tire weight. So that's something else, you know. But we'll take this drive shaft out and replace the coupler, since I have the new couplers over there on top of the bumper. Okay, here are the new drive shaft couplers. As you can see, this is just a rubber hockey puck somebody has drilled holes in. This is the actual coupler. The thing about these couplers is if you have a 90 to 93, they use a 12mm spline here in the middle for the bearing where it rides. And the 94 to 97 uses a 14mm, and this would be a 14mm spline. Not only that, but the bushings on the drive shaft sit at a lower angle in 3 of the bushings. So you can see, if you look at it like this, 3 of the bushings, this one, and this one here sit lower than the rest of them, because these 3 connect to the drive shaft itself, and the other 3 connect to the harmonic balancer and hydraulic, or whatever it's called, hydrostatic fan clutch assembly. And you have to make sure you don't reverse those, or you will tear the drive shaft apart. Also, they've included 2 sets of bolts for this. One is the shorter style, which I believe is this one, and this one is the longer style. One is for the front, one is for the rear. It also includes new counterweights, which we will be using. You don't want to reuse the bolts. I've seen a lot of people snap those off. So let's take this drive shaft somewhere where there's more space and replace both the front and the rear couplers. So here's one of the couplers installed. Obviously I have not tightened anything down, but this is how you would properly counterbalance the shaft, or at least the coupler. You can see this is the bearing side of the coupler. As a result, this is actually going to go on here like this. I'm going to have to remove one of these that's stuck in there, but this will then suck into that. You can actually see that they are lower down for this specific reason, and these higher ones are now on the actual drive shaft. So you can see I have one side of the new coupler added. This side I have not. A lot of you might run into this where you see these metal things and you go, how the hell is this going to attach to this? That's impossible. Behold, they just sort of pop off. Yeah, those are actually supposed to be in the coupler right here, see? But they're not, because they use, look how warped these are. I don't know where these came from, but these are the worst quality I have ever seen, and they were not balanced even slightly correctly. So after about 3 hours of trying to unsuccessfully use this crap harmonic balancer removal tool that I had to customize, and hitting on this thing with an impact, I don't want to break that bolt. I don't know what's going on here. This should not be that tight. Maybe somebody at the factory used an extra amount of Loctite. I don't know, but it will not come off, and I don't want to risk damaging the threads here. The screw I was actually using, I don't know if I can find it, but to hold the harmonic balancer remover on actually began to bend. Like, it was literally like this. So what I'm going to do is put the new drive shaft, or the drive shaft with the new couplers, back in and take the van to work, and we'll use an air machine to take this off, like an air chisel or an air impact, because even with the Milwaukee, it is just not doing it, and I don't want to cause any damage down here. So I finally have the new coupler installed in the forward portion of the car, and also in the rearward portion. It turns out that I was missing a piece from here. See how there's a gap? See that gap? There was a metal bracket that had fallen down into here that was not lining up the drive shaft with the coupler, and this was my main issue with not getting this thing to line up. So that was a fun 2 days. 2 days, okay? Now that I've got those 2 drive shaft bushings down there back in, and the vehicle idles significantly better, it still vibrates a little, but nowhere near as bad as it was before, I would like to check out this throttle body. I think that's what it is down there. I mean, you can see there's a butterfly valve and it opens and closes, so this must be a throttle body of some kind. So we're gonna remove this air intake hose for the filter and get down in there and see if we can clean that throttle body. I know there's also a second throttle body under the driver's seat.
Isn't that cute? But it's wrong!
Which is much more difficult to get to and clean, but is something I would like to work on also. So let's try to get this off without completely destroying it. Well, we eviscerated this in one piece without breaking anything. That in and of itself is a small miracle. And it's a good thing we took this out, because look at how dirty that is. Ew. That definitely needs a cleaning. The air filter, though, looks absolutely excellent. I'm still going to take it out and shake it out. Ooh, that rhymed. But that looks nice. I think somebody might have changed that the very last time this vehicle ever went on a ride. Because there's no way it should be that clean. This thing has a slightly different MAF than I'm used to. I'm used to the weird trapdoor style of MAF on the Previas. I guess because of the supercharger inlet, this needed a different style of MAF computer. But everything in here is pretty well good. You don't really see too many leaks, which is nice. There's one small leak right there on the power steering pump that I will have to address at some point. But right now we're going to go clean this throttle body. We got that throttle body about as clean as it's going to get down in there anyway. You can see that when you open it, there's like a little stuff stuck in there, but I have to get that out. And it should be about done. And I've decided to replace the air filter because although it looks very nice here, ooh my, not so much on this side. So I have to go to the store real quick and get an air filter. So I guess I was incorrect in my assumption. My other Previa is not supercharged. It's just a standard 2.4. Apparently the supercharged acts differently because in the supercharged, this is where your throttle body is. But on this one, as you can see, if I were to press the gas pedal, okay, that linkage on the other side here, watch it carefully, doesn't go to anything. It just actuates the throttle cable, which actuates a secondary cable that goes to the front throttle body. So I guess that throttle body that's on the front of the motor over here, I guess this is the actual one and only throttle body, because I was thinking in terms of the other Previa over there. Huh. Yeah, keep in mind I've never had a supercharged Previa. This is my first one, so I'm going to be learning as I go along with this one. I do know there's something called a flake filter in this that I need to be on the lookout for. I'll have to do some more research into that. I went ahead and put everything back together with a new air filter. Also, I found this line back here was disconnected. See this right here? This line was not connected to anything. So that's probably a little bit better of idle. Yeah, I didn't know that, so I guess you learn something new every day. The throttle body is not here on the Previa, at least I don't see one. Let me zoom out. That's just like an intake hose. Then if you look down here, that is also an intake hose. So there is no throttle body here. Less work for me, I suppose. One thing I would like to point out since I'm already down here, check out how deliciously clean this engine oil is, and I have not changed this oil since I bought the vehicle a couple months ago. Look at that. God damn. That's some clean oil. They must have just changed that oil right before they parked it. Transmission oil, not so much. This is not what you want your transmission fluid to look like. Let's go ahead and put that down here. It's not terrible. Well, I take that statement back. It's pretty terrible. Aren't you so cute? Oh, I love kitty cats. I know, I can't help myself but do the baby talk. They're just so damn cute. How could you not love a kitty cat? How could you not love a kitty cat? All right, Orangey. What are you doing? What's going on? Oh, you want more pets? Of course. Of course you can have more pets. Of course, of course. Sorry, my hands are so dirty, though. Doesn't seem to be... Oh, it's pretty clean right there. That's okay. Oh, you're such a sweetheart. You must be the neighbor's kitty. Well, it's time for the first oil change of the van. I've driven it a few hundred miles. We're going to see what the oil looks like. Keep in mind this oil was in the van when I bought it. I have not changed it. That's actually not that bad. You can still see there's some color in it. There's no chunks or anything. Put this on the ground over here. Yeah, it's actually looking pretty good. We have some new oil over there we're going to be putting in. And I have to remove the oil filter housing complete assembly because I'm going to put a new gasket on it right now. So let's go over to the other side and pop the filter along with the gasket off. So I now have the oil filter housing off. As you can see, I've cleaned it up just a little bit. This gasket here is hard as a rock. It is not doing much gasketing any further. So we're going to use Toyota FIPG form-in-place gasket to replace this. I've cleaned out the internals of the filter. I'm going to try to clean up some of this, but there's really no point. It's going to be buried under a mountain of grease anyway. But this is just something I wanted to address. I believe some of the leaks are coming from this gasket right here. As you can see, that's where the oil filter housing mounts to. I have cleaned everything around it. Oh, if I could have a finger, I could point it. There you go. All that's been cleaned. All that's been cleaned. I'm trying my best to clean down here, but it's pretty dirty. I'd really like to find the source of that oil leak. I thought it was the rear main seal, and we'll find out if it is, because once I clean everything, we'll have a clear line of where that leak originates. I'm trying my hardest not to drop you into this oil. Wouldn't that be unfortunate? But you can see there's some kind of oil leak, and I believe it's coming from right there. That gasket on that little housing was just brittle. It fell to dust once I took it off. And form-in-place gasket is just as good, if not better. Just make sure you don't actually block the oil feed lines through the filter. That would be no good. There is an inlet and outlet, kind of hard again without the finger, but inlet and outlet port for the oil to the filter. So I'm gonna let that cure up for a minute and then go attach the filter housing back to where it belongs.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Well, it wouldn't be a day if I didn't fuck something up. As you can see, there is a rather large oil leak coming from the rear of the oil filter housing, and this is because, do you see that bolt? While I was tightening the bolt, it snapped off in the engine block, or the oil pump, or whatever's behind there. And also the gasket they sent me was completely incorrect, so I tried to make do, remember, with that silicone, and it did not work. So I had to order the proper gasket from a Toyota dealer, which is going to be here in a week. So it's going to set this video quite far back. And I guess for the time being, we're going to have to remove this broken stud in here and see how to get that out, because it's not going to seal properly if that bolt isn't tight against the housing. So a week later, I don't know if you can see, there's the correct gasket in place. There is Skinny Butt the cat. Hello, Skinny Butt. You didn't see me, did you, buddy? And I'm going to put this oil filter housing back in. As you can see, I removed the offending bolt that was snapped, and the threads were completely fine. I don't know what happened. Maybe the bolt just fatigued, but we're going to be much more careful with the replacement bolt that we're putting in. So let's put this oil filter housing back on. Okay, everything is back together. As you can see, we have no oil leaks right here at all. Before, it was literally pouring oil out of this orifice. Everything is dry now. You can see the dual, or what it's called, the supplemental accessory drive shaft doing its thing in there. You can see that it's pretty balanced. In my opinion, it's a hair out of balance, so I may have to check the bushings on either side for play to make sure they're fully tight. But yeah, we have solved the issue of the oil leak at this particular spot. So let's cross our fingers that this was the majority of the oil leak, because this took almost 2 weeks to rectify. I put everything back together, and this is the filter that this particular Previa uses, a 90915 YZZ-D1. This is a genuine Toyota filter from the store, not from Amazon or eBay. Do not buy these off Amazon or eBay, they are fakes. This is by itself $8. So if they're selling a 12-pack for 30 bucks, then you know something is wrong. This is the oil we're going to be using, Quaker State 10 weight 30 all mileage motor oil. Not synthetic blend, not all synthetic, dinosaur ass motor oil. I'm not even going to go into why, you know why. And if I go into why, the internet will roast me and call me out on every fucking crevice of the internet. So that's just what I use, it's what I prefer, okay? You can see up in there, if we can get up in there a little bit, the housing is reinstalled along with the new genuine filter. There is the drive shaft coupler that I had installed previously. Well, there's all 6 quarts of it filled in there. Nice and clean. Next thing I would like to do is change the transmission fluid on this vehicle. And at nearly, what is it, 233,000 miles, I hope it's not going to be the first time, but it definitely looks like it could be. That is some dark, dark, nasty oil. So hopefully, in the next couple of days here, I can get that transmission fluid, you know, changed over. I think it's about 6 quarts, maybe 7. I also have this that I'm going to actually install right at this very moment. So what this is, if I could get this seat to adjust. It's always something. Hard to do this all with one hand. There we go. Okay, so what this is a center console from a 2016 Honda Odyssey. I got this from work. We actually sent a 2016 Honda Odyssey to the junkyard that was horrifically mangled by the customer, and they let me take this out of it. So it will just sort of, you can actually see it even has this little gap in here like this. So I should just be able to wedge this between the seats, but I'm gonna need 2 hands for this, so give me a second. So unfortunately with this in, I will no longer have use of my captain's chair armrest, but it also provides you 4 more cup holders and a giant deep center armrest, which I really can't complain about. Let me move some of these oil jugs out of the way real quick. Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I mean, this takes all of the, it does the exact same thing as the armrest does, and stuff. You get 2 cup holders here, which is super nice, and you get this giant box. And for free, oh, no complaints about that. I like this. Look at that. Quad cup holders. 6. I don't know what 6 is. What is it, septuple? I don't know. 6 cup holders. I could open up a Hooters in here. I could serve back there. I could drink up here. Eat chicken wings out of the dashboard. Oh, yeah. Right? And maybe upcoming in the future, I don't know if I'm going to make a video of this. It'll probably be titled something like Jimmy Jim Jim's lawsuit, because that's what it is. I am involved in a lawsuit currently with the property owners next door because of that tree right there and that tree right there, which are now dying and uprooted. I don't know if you can see all the bark coming off and the nudity of the branches. One of those came down and broke the windshield on my Camry, and I asked them 8 months ago to change or take off the branches, do whatever to the tree, get rid of it, and they have not done so. So now we are in court over that. So isn't that all kinds of fun? But yeah, cup holders, baby. Woo! I'm loving it. I gotta clean the stinky stickies off of this, and damn, that looks nice. I love it. Well, now that we've got all that out of the way, we can finally focus on the most important thing, the brake pedal pad. Brake pad pedal, brake pedal pad. I don't know. $11 from Manhattan Beach Toyota. And hopefully this is going to be nice and easy to just snap right on. Probably going to need 2 hands for this. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm going to need 2 hands for this. So give me a second. Well, there it is, all nice and installed. Couldn't have taken more than 30 seconds. This will help when it rains. And I have my boots on because my boots like to slip off the metal part of the brake pad. And it rains pretty frequently lately. As you can see, it is actually raining right now. I also took this wretched steering wheel cover off to show a beautiful steering wheel underneath, not all messed up and ugly, which is really nice. Put the center console in, still haven't cleaned it. I still have some more stuff to do that'll be in the next video, hopefully. I would like to put that door panel back on and fix the slider lock mechanism. I would like to put the rear hatch struts on that I bought for this vehicle. Change the 2 rear shocks, and I also want to change the 2 front complete assemblies and get an alignment. And that'll almost do it for this particular car. There's some other stuff I'd like to work on. I'd like to put a nicer stereo in it that actually turns off with the ignition key, because this one does not. I don't know why. I think maybe it was wired incorrectly. Maybe put a amplifier and a sub in it so I have a little more audio. And also fix that door panel a little better along with this one, because it's just sort of flimsy. And it's really hard to find these door panels that aren't a arm and a leg. But that's going to do it for this episode. Hopefully, it's been somewhat entertaining. It's been a little harder to get videos out lately just because of the weather. And then on top of that, finding parts for these vehicles is getting more and more difficult. You know, by the time you find the correct part, buy it, and then wait the week and a half or 2 weeks for it to get here. Then you do the repair, and you find 2 more things you have to fix before you put that part back in. It really backs up the process. So hopefully I can come out with a few more videos soon. But I think that's going to do it for this particular episode. So thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.